been a minute, yeah, since I posted a video. But I was kind of like waiting on something. I wasn't sure what exactly it was I was waiting on, but I guess eventually, God just brought my attention to what it is, to be exact. So, I'm going to start this morning with talking to us about something. Some nights ago, I had an encounter, and in this encounter, I saw something quite strange. I saw an environment where it was like I was at the top of a mountain, and I saw a lot of different things, not entirely pleasing things. And in all this encounter, there was a particular being that was standing there. And he was almost like in control of everything that was going on there. Now, all through my research and through a lot of things that my studies and everything, I've come to understand this being as one of the fallen angels that fell in the Bible. And there were a lot of people around him, so many. Yeah, surprisingly. Suddenly there was a blast of an announcement. It was almost like the announcement was that something or someone was coming from the heavens. So I stood to watch to see who was coming from the heavens. But the next thing I would know was literally everyone around this being began to turn themselves into other kind of creatures. Some turned themselves into dogs, others turned themselves into like chimeras, some turned themselves into serpents, and all that. But at the center of it all was this being who was standing, and there was a massive serpent just right next to him. I've never seen anything like that. And the next thing was they all took off from the ground, flying in the air. And he also, of course, the serpent was, it was more or less like the serpent was a personification of this being. So he rode on the serpent going up. There were other creatures that were now hanging onto the serpent as they were going up, and others were gliding in the air on their own as they were going. But something strange happened. The body of the serpent began to metamorphose. Like he began to morph into the serpent. This being began to morph into the serpent. So the body of the serpent began to give way for this being to go into it. And I was really stunned. I was shocked. I woke up from that dream not feeling normal for like 2 days straight. But the announcement remained the same, and they were going from town to town, making the announcement that someone was coming from the heavens. So they all had to run to give way because of whatever it is that was coming. And that really shocked me. So I got up and I prayed, but at the same time, I had an understanding. God gave me an understanding of what was happening and how this was tied into his plans for the destiny of his people. Yes. So, as the people of God, we have a very unique type of destiny, and it is our responsibility to see it come to light. But now, After, I think that same day or the day after, this was on the 12th or 11th, was when they had the UN resolution at the United Nations headquarters in New York, United States. Something about that UN resolution that we need to understand is the Bible had already talked about it. Unfortunately, I just wanted to speak to particularly African countries. This is Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and for countries like Ethiopia that abstained, there were countries that abstained from voting. There were others who voted against Israel in favor of Palestine for a two-state solution. Unfortunately, I would like to say that we as a people and our leaderships made a very big mistake. Yes, we made a grave mistake, and that mistake is going to cost our people. And again, for a very long time, African countries were either abstaining or were always leaning on the side of Israel. Just to give you context about what I'm talking about, in the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 2, this is the NIV version. It says, I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will put them on trial. Why is God putting all nations on trial? For what they did to my inheritance, my people Israel, because they scattered my people among the nations and divided up my land. Yes, they scattered the people and divided up the land. Now, a lot of people, I've had theories where people say, the people currently occupying the land of Israel are not Jews. They're not the true Jews. They're Ashkenazi Jews and all that. That's fine. But the point here is the land. How can we come together to become part and parcel to do an objection of God against his own inheritance? This is wrong on all levels. And I want to speak directly to President Tinubu, President William Ruto of Kenya, and the South African president. I don't know, for a strange reason, South Africa has this thing against Israel, which I fail to understand what it is, like the dynamics behind whatever it is that they're doing. It's almost as if they are for the terrorists and not for the people who are trying to, just have a civilized society. It's important for us to come to a place where we understand that we can't go against God. It does not matter what the devil does. It doesn't matter what man does. We cannot go against God. And it's as simple as that. I'll talk to you in the next video.